as well. Okay, let's get rolling. All right, everybody, and thank you for joining me for another another episode in our long-running series, the FlipLogic Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Ryan Kirk. I've got James Utterback here co-hosting with me this evening. James, always good to be with you.
Yeah, good to be with you too.
Did you have a good New Year? Good Christmas? Good holidays?
Yeah, good. Except everyone stopped working, that whole thing.
I know, right? I know, except everybody stopped working. I know, that's the amazing thing, right? When you're in real estate, it's actually fun to work, isn't it? It's fun to be doing deals. It's fun to be doing deals. It's fun to be, getting business done, making deals happen. And that's actually one of the things that I want us to jump into first. I'm looking over at our panelists and I don't see William Johnson on the line. And the reason why William is because one of his deals actually got done over Christmas break, over the holiday break. And I'm going to pull it up real quick. And then I know we talked about this deal before going into the holiday weekend. And I'm actually going to pull it up right here. So you guys should be able to see my screen now. So this deal, if you tuned in for the last episode, you'll remember it because it was this one on Spalding. And so what happened over the holiday break, and I wish William was here to fill in a little bit more about it, but I can tell you firsthand that we going into the holiday, we got the price down to $672,500. And I'll go to the analysis tab so everybody can see what I'm looking at. But we got the price down to $672,500. We actually marketed the deal at $690,000. And we've got a few buyers to walk it. And then what happened was we had an investor go back over there, a completely new investor, a different investor, walk it. It was right after the holiday ended. I think it was after Christmas. Maybe it was on like the 26th or 27th. They went over there, they walked it, they liked it, they wired their deposit in. And this deal actually closes, I think it funds tomorrow. It was supposed to fund today. I think it funds tomorrow, and then it'll close the following day. So that's a good one. I think William will make, it's like a $17,500 margin. So that's not bad. But what I would like to do is, I know Damon's on the line, and Damon's got a deal that he's got a deal under contract that I'd like to Q&A with him about, because it's under contract. We had an investor walk it maybe on Friday is what it was. Today's Monday. So they walked it on Friday, and I actually want to bring him on the line. So James was on site. I believe, was Damon on site as well?
Yeah, he was there. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Damon was on site as well. Damon, I'm going to bring you off mute. And while you don't have to go walk these properties, if you're in the area, I mean, it's always good to do it because you can learn a lot as your investor walks through the property, and you can get a better understanding as to how they value the deal, what they're looking at, what they're estimating, why they're estimating it. And more importantly, with renovating a property, it really is a design and art form, isn't it? Right? Because of the different ways that you can open up the floor plan, add value by maybe adding square footage or creating an additional dwelling unit. That's very big now in Southern California, right? It's creating these detached ADUs, additional dwelling units in your backyard to add, extra rental income and add value to the property. So with that being said, Damon, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear y'all.
Okay, great. So Damon can hear us. James can hear us. Happy New Year to you, Damon. And I'd like to, so Damon, so this Auburn Drive property, right? Maybe, and what I'd like to do is I'm going to pull it up. And what would be great is if you could maybe just give us a little background, a little context on where it came from first, how you came into the lead, and then we'll go into it from there. Did we lose Damon?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
You hear me? Okay. What happened is I went to look at another property that I located on Zillow, and that one was vacant also. But the agent that met me there, his name was Ben. He is the one that actually sent me over this property here. So that's how we got this one on Auburn, was that Ben sent this one over after the one we looked at here in Lakeside.
Got it. So you found a vacant, distressed or junker, property on Zillow, right? Was it a FSBO or listed by an agent?
It actually, I believe that one was on the MLS.
Okay, it was on the MLS, listed by a realtor agent. You made a phone call. Was it the listing agent you called on?
Yes, it was the listing agent that I called on, and they referred Ben.
So called on.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying they referred Ben. The listing agent referred Ben to us.
Okay. The listing agent. Oh, probably because it's an REO. Is that right?
Right.
Okay, because normally a listing agent would never, ever, ever refer you to another realtor, right? Because why would they want to lose half the commission as opposed to collecting all 5% typically? So, but in an REO, it's different. REOs, they're a seller who does not want that kind of conflict of interest. They don't want what's called dual agency. So the bank said, hey, you can't represent both us and the buyer. You need to make sure the buyer is represented by someone else. So typically what they do is they'll refer an agent within their office. So it'll be the same office. The money's going to come into the same brokerage. It's just going to come into to have two different agents involved. One which would be representing Damon and the other which is representing the seller. Is that right, Damon?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what happened. So you called them up, said, hey, I want to come walk the property. Did we make an offer first, or did you go walk it first?
We went and actually walked it first. I think I had a price already. I had a price already. We already priced it. I like to do that first.
Good.
So we can kind of
for sure.
So yes, that's what happened. I went and walked it first, and then made the offer after that.
Okay, that's good. Typically, like what we'll do is we'll look at a property, run the numbers just like Damon did, and then we'll call. And instead of saying, hey, I want to go see it, we'll say, hey, I'm interested. I've checked out the photos. I ran my numbers. I'm very interested in making an offer, and here's where I need to be at. And then you make the verbal over the phone, and work towards coming to an agreement on, either if it's a FSBO, you're writing up the offer, or in this case, it's a listed property. So then you would say, hey, I'm interested in offering whatever it is. I think it was $275 off the top of my head, or something like that. And then they would write it up, submit it. If you get it accepted, then you can market blast it to your investors and meet them out there, or they can go walk it. But in this case, You went, you walked it. That's not a bad thing. It's in your area or nearby. Is that right?
Yes, it's very close to my house.
Okay. Okay, so not a bad thing to go
10
walk it
minutes.
and get a feel for
Like
the
10 minutes.
neighborhood and the property. Like a minute. That's good.
10 minutes, about 10 minutes.
Oh, 10 minutes. Okay.
Yes.
So there's a silver lining in this story. So what happened was on that. So you went to the property, walked it, you met with the agents, and then what happened?
And then I just I talked to him a little bit about it. We made the offer, and then he called me a little bit after that and told me about this property.
I see. Okay. So that's the silver lining right there, right?
Yes.
So you guys had a little face to face, walked the property. We made an offer on that one, but as I know, we're not in contract on that one. So that one has not panned out in our favor yet, right? But he did pitch you another opportunity.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yes.
So
Yes, he
this
did.
next opportunity is the one that we're looking at now, which is this one here under the property details. It is, on Auburn, it's a 5-bed, 2-bath, 2145 square feet. And if I look at the comps here, 10,890 square foot lot size, right? 1970 is the build. And then we've got 3 good comps in here. We've got one very close by, 1,500 square feet. So obviously that's much smaller. It's like 600 square feet smaller. It's a much larger lot, 17,600 square feet smaller, got 545. This one's newer construction. So this one's not as, it's tough to new construction so different than something that's built in 1970, so that's very tough. You can use it as a comp, but an appraiser is going to make adjustments to that, right?
Right.
But that's sold at 625, which is good. Go ahead.
I put that one in there to indicate we couldn't get above 625 or 600. Because the main comp above on Auburn at 545 is where we're getting our number. Because it's look at the square footage difference from the subject, the comp below, directly below at 1505. So that's why it looks like we could get 600 because of the square footage difference, but I didn't really, because this one's new construction and it's sitting in the low 6s.
Yeah, well, the downside for this new construction, it's 3,400 square. It's a 3,400 square foot lot. Right. We're a quarter of an acre, 10,890. So that's good. And then we've got this one. I don't know if this is accurate, but it says it's 1930 build, 4,000 square foot lot, 960 square feet, living square footage, 2.2, and it sold for 550.
Right.
Is that right, or is this
it's
new construction?
No, it's accurate. I checked it on Redfin. It's nice.
Okay.
But
no, it's really nice. The other thing that might be it looks older construction, but it's just remodeled.
Yeah.
And it is a small lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if that Fairmont Village, even though this is within a mile, 0.7 miles, it's down where it's this one here, 550.
Yeah.
I don't know if that neighborhood you can tell how different this neighborhood is. Look how big these lots are, or how widely separated it is than over here. So I don't know if this neighborhood's more desirable than this one, but anyways, this is probably one of our best comps because it's right here. I think it's on the same street. It is actually. Yeah. So it's on the same street. It's just a bigger lot, less living square footage, sold for 545. All right. So what does all this mean? This sold for 362 a foot. We ended up valuing it at 585. And I think 585 was just kind of an educated guess here, right? I mean, it's not apples to apples, as we can tell.
Yeah. When I ran the comps, there's nothing in the area really. Those comps that we have here, that's it. There's nothing else
Gotcha.
you could get.
And that's what happens sometimes, right? I mean, it is what it is. That's what's, comp. It's best if it's within 30 days, right? Is best. Within 90 days is okay. Within a year, you can use it within a year, but I mean, the market's changed quite a bit, hasn't it? I think just within the last several months, 6 months since the summer. So the closer in time we can get, the better. And this one was in July. So, I mean, that's our best comp. So anyways, we bumped it to 585 because obviously, we've got more living square footage and more bedrooms. So could they get more than 585? Possibly. Anyways, we put that as probably our best guess as a supported number. And even up here, you've got value ranges. Zillow says 530 to 480. I think that's light. Our highest comp was 625. Our lowest was 545. Average is like 573. We came up with 585. Analysis. We used $30 a foot. Does this one need everything? We've got photos here? If I pull this up.
I don't believe there's photos on Zillow.
I think Damon took photos, right? And you put them in the document folder.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll upload some.
Okay. Yeah. Here's some photos. So let's see how quick. It's going to download them, and then I have to click for it to load. Well, here's one photo. Okay, Damon, what would you say the condition of this property was in? Damon and James, I mean, you guys can both.
Yes, James would probably be better at it. I just say it was just, it just needs everything. It's very old, broken down. It needs everything.
Okay.
Go. Full.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Just you can go just full. It's a full rehab. It's a full.
Okay. A full rehab plus maybe a new roof, guys. Did it look like it needed a new roof?
Yeah.
Okay. So full remodel plus a new roof. So that could get us there. So we use $30 a foot. Right here, you can see $30 a foot. Awful, which is going to be, everything, right? We're going to be somewhere between 20 and $75 a foot, depending on, is this a low end property, a median price property, a high end property? This is median, right? I mean, it's not low and it's not high, it's median. So we're somewhere around the 30 to $35 a foot mark. We use $30 a foot.
Right.
And everything else pre-populated here at a 10% ROI. That puts us right around 423. We rounded it off a little bit, right? System says based off those numbers we put in, it says 423, 471. And we just rounded to the nearest to 423. All right. Now here's the other benefit of walking the property, and I'm going to have James tell us here. So Damon and James were both on site, right?
Mm-hmm.
We did a marketing blast to our investor list, right? With a little blurb of what was going on there, letting them know it's a 585 ARV. We're asking 423. So we did a marketing blurb. Investors could see that, hey, if it's available at 423, they could spend around $64,000. If they hit that 585 ARV, they're going to net about $53,000 after all expenses, right? Carrying costs, closing costs, the rehab, everything. They're going to net, not gross, but net 53, which is a 10% ROI in 4 months. If they sell it faster than that, their ROI goes up, right? And that's 30% annually. Is 30% annually pretty good? Well, if you took that same money and you put in the stock market on a regular year, on a bull year, you're supposed to make about 8 to 10% on average, and that's supposed to be pretty good. So you're talking about more certainty, right? Making 10%, not in a year, but in 4 months, 30% annually. So that's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. So James, we blasted it out, got some interest. One of our investors wanted to go walk it on Friday. James and Damon were there. James, tell us what you learned walking it with our investor.
Yeah. So when I met the guy there, we walked around it. The property is really, really rough shape. Some broken windows. It looks like inside the garage that there was like a living unit in there, that they had turned the garage into something where someone could live. And then they tore everything out and left the studs like drilled into the concrete on the floor of the garage. And it just looked really horrible. And the layout was really, really weird. As far as like it being a single family home, it would, I don't know. It's very questionable as to whether it would move forward as a single family home if it was put on the market. But our, let me catch my breath here. Our investor, he was very intuitive, and he was thinking of, building out the underneath of the backyard area, which it had like a cover over this area, like a patio. And he was thinking, of putting like drywall and adding a unit back there, and just putting in the right due diligence with the city and turning it into a multifamily, 4 units or 5 units, what have you. And granted, we don't have any comps there for those units. He was thinking of a way to make the deal work at such a good discount. And he's still running his due diligence and doing everything with the city still, because it looked like there were some violations due to the garage. If you can zoom in a little bit more there, Ryan, you can kind of see the back area there, where he was thinking of putting in like that little
under there.
Yeah, right under there. There's a good amount of square footage there. I would say 500 square feet at least.
Okay.
That he was thinking of just putting in the drywall, and whatever you need to do to make more living space to get more dollar signs out of it, squeezing the juice out of the deal, so they say.
Gotcha. Okay. So then that's so he's looking to reconfigure the floor plan and add value by taking some underutilized space that already has, it sounds like, foundation, and it just needs to be walled in.
Yeah. So he's going
to go to the city and try to see if he can get it permitted for multifamily, because I'm guessing if we check the zoning, maybe the zoning allows for multifamily, but definitely the neighborhood calls for it, right? Look, we're abutting. This is probably, I don't know how many units that is, but that looks like definitely a few units. But yeah, there's multifamily on this street.
Yeah. He had mentioned that he did a deal right down the street. There's multifamilies all over the place. He thinks he can get 4 units out of it, so he's going to put drywall up, and it's all these areas have like stairwells in the back and on the sides in some areas, some spaces, and some doorways, and you have studios and all these different units that you can just get right into. So he's he took a lot of pictures, and he's reconfiguring the place in his mind as he was going around. And it sounds to me like he's gonna perform on this and get a really good deal. 423,000 for a 4-unit. Of course he's going to have to put in some work. Maybe it'll be more than 60,000. Maybe it'll be 100,000. But then you have a 4-unit for pennies.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just to kind of give us an idea, if I were to look at recently sold, and I'm going to basically what I'm going to do is change my home type here on Zillow. I'm going to change it to apartments because we're going to see if I can look for a quick multifamily find here. But whenever you go from, so to start all of this analysis, we supported the ARV based off single family sales, right? Multifamily, whenever you're talking adding a second unit, a third unit, a fourth unit, multifamily, the more units you have, the more value you have. So he's going to add value and take the ARV above the 585 because he's not just going to rehab it and keep it as its current use as a single family. He's going to change the use to a 3 or 4 family, and that should take the ARV from 585, and then it could move it up to to over $1 million. So then, that's why as soon as we heard him, talking about doing that, it's like, oh, this is pretty much a done. I don't want to say a done deal. It's never done till it's done. But there's so much value there now that it makes it a very easy deal. And not only that, but we could also remarket it like that now as well, because I can tell you all of our other investors on this, if they knew that they can convert this, if that's within their model, only certain guys are going to do that, right? Your bigger funds, they're just like, they don't want to do creative. They just want green lights, as they call it. They just want easy, get in, rehab, and get out. But this one, I know a few other people. It's just he's the only guy who walked it and looked at it that way. But let's see if I zoom out, if there's any other 4 units that show up in the area. That's 5,000 square feet. How many square footage? We were 2,000?
Yeah, we're 2.
Yes.
That one sold too
Yeah.
long ago. Does it say how many units? It's just a 6-bed. Doesn't say how many units. So let's see. I'm gonna change this to within the last 12 months.
Hey, Ryan,
Zoom out. Yeah.
can you do me a favor and click the home type and just add in townhouses?
Or you. Oh, townhouses.
Yeah, because sometimes people label things differently, because it's Zillow. It's a very public kind of portal area that people can edit certain things, or they mislabel things all the time. Or prices.
Sure. Before I do that, I just want to point out this one is actually it says it's a duplex. It's a duplex, but it's not telling me how many square feet it is. I was hoping I could find what it was, but this is a duplex. I'd have to see what the square footage is, but it says it's 700,000 is what they're asking for on that. So that's interesting. 1940 build. Okay, so let's include townhomes. Is that what you said?
Yeah. and condos and co-ops.
Let me see if I can put in 4 units. I've got 1 4-unit here.
That's probably.
So our 4-unit here, this says 665. This is smaller, 1,700 square feet. But it sold like, 12 months ago. And this doesn't look renovated at all.
No.
From the outside. But again, hey, 665, 4 units, 2 parcels. How big is the lot? It says unit count 2. 6,200 square foot lot. It's just 4 units. 3 of the 4 units have been remodeled. Okay. So I think our ARV is going to be, well, just based off of what we just looked at right there. We had more living square footage, right? And we had a bigger lot size. So instead of 665, like what that got a year ago, let's just call it 685 at the moment. So even that right there, and then we're thinking maybe he's got to spend, maybe he spends $50 a foot. So already his ROI has gone up to 18%, and his net rehab profit has doubled, right? So is that good or good? So that's 665, and I don't see anything else that's labeled as a 4 unit here in the 8, or maybe 4-plex. Try that. No. All right. Well, on the MLS, it would be easier to find 4 units based on that, but that's good. So I think we're good on that. I don't think we're going to have an issue with this deal not working. So it's 850. It's 3,000 square feet. So anyways, I think the value's definitely there. I mean,
Ryan,
if it wasn't there before, it's definitely there now.
Yeah. The zoning is R4, by the way. So.
Oh, the zoning's R4. And that's really, honestly, this is such a great lesson. When you're looking at a property, especially the first thing that should have happened when you see that street, the kind of street that this is, when you see multifamily on the street, that's kind of a dead giveaway there too, that your zoning is probably multifamily, because you're in a multifamily area or multifamily zone. You're surrounded by multifamily. Mm. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. Again, because this deal is not going to be for all investors, because a lot of investors, they don't want to spend the time. They just want to do the easy, which is get in, get out. But this guy, he'll have to spend a little more time in planning, and he's going to have to spend time in design, and he's going to have to reconfigure this thing. But he'll be able to get more value out of it.
Yeah. What's the ROI?
The ROI based on those changes is 18% now.
That's really good, actually.
And then he can decide whether he's going to flip it or if he's just going to fix it, rent it, and then refinance it and keep it. So I don't know. That'll be up to him. What matters to us is this 423 number. This is a great number for him, for the work. And then I know we got the contract at 395. Is that right?
Yeah.
So our contract price, I'm just going to put in our contract price here, 395. So we've got a $28,000 wholesale profit in there. Is that right?
Yep.
So the other cool thing, and I'm just going to come out with it, but the other cool thing is we've got the contract at 395. Obviously, that's what I just put in there. I think we can get it down to 385.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we can if we get the
that would put us at 38,000. Why do I think we can get it at 385? Well, we have it at 395. Well, why would you even want to do that, Ryan? Because you already, well, first off, we're waiting for our investor to confirm that he's ready for the assignment agreement, the wire instructions, and he's ready to wire a non-refundable deposit into escrow and move forward at 423, right? That's number one. That's what we're waiting for. We're pretty confident that's going to happen. But number two, I believe we can do an addendum to get this price to amend the price to 385. And the reason is because I know this deal has been on the market for a while. It's been floating around at 395. And most people, they either didn't want to pursue it as a single family for that margin, or two, they just didn't look into it deep enough to know that, hey, there's a higher and better use here as a multi, and there's more value that can be extracted out of the deal, right? So I know this seller, I know he's kind of exhausted the deal, and I know that we can probably get it down another 10 to put our margin at 38,000. And that'll be a pretty sweet deal, won't it? It'll be a sweet deal either way. But I think that's going to be our target.
Sounds good.
All right. So why don't we? I want to just check and see if we have any questions here. Clayton says, "Is there a rezoning city fee or anything? Is it an application for the city?" Yeah, those are great questions. I know the investor; he's the one that's going to the city, and then of course, it'll be an application and fees that get paid. Yeah, that get paid for that. So, and then that'll give them the ability to rezone it on a tax scroll with the county, and then for him to, reconfigure that floor plan to, make sense for multiple units. Up to 4 is what he can do. Pretty cool. I'm just going to check our YouTube folks and see if there's any other questions. Does anybody else have any other questions that they have or that they'd like to ask? If so, feel free to get them in. Damon, this is your deal, your contract. Do you have any other questions on it?
Y'all contracted already from Ben?
Good question. James, do we have the contract on it?
I believe he had sent it over. I'd have to pull it up and take a look at it. Let's see here.
Can you see if you can find? Let me see if I can find it. So then that way, I know it was in here. Auburn, right?
Yes. So it was dang, he sent over the redacted contract or another one?
He sent over the redacted contract when I looked at it,
Okay.
which is good for us, because we know we can have it delivered at a certain price.
Mhm.
I guess, yeah, Ryan just had it there, but it was not. Obviously, you can see it wasn't.
Yeah, you'll have to check. You guys will have to check your records, or sorry, check your email, because the only thing that I saw was what James sent me on Friday, which was page one of that redacted
Mm.
contract.
If you
Yes.
if you open it up though, it's got the seller and buyer initials on the bottom page of that though. So there's
Did you write up an agreement for the contract holder to sign, to send over to us? Because if
no,
not,
not yet.
okay.
We
Then we definitely
before
want to.
I was gonna say before we do that, it would be nice to get a little more feedback from our investor before putting anything on paper.
No, agreed. We don't have. No, you're right on that. We do not have firm terms since. All right, so since this deal is, we're not direct to the title holder, right? We're not direct to the seller of record. This is a deal that Damon got from another investor, right? The investor has the property under contract and he wants to assign it, right? He wanted to assign it to Damon. He pitched the deal to Damon. Damon got the contract or the deal. What's nice is it's always nice to tie deals up, right? So then that way, you've got it locked up, secured. He can't sell it to somebody else. Nobody can go around you. Most of the time, so while you could present it to him up front after you had looked at the numbers, or we had looked at the numbers and we were ready to market it to investors, because he said that you could have it at 395. We underwrote the deal. We see that there's room in it to sell it at 423 right then and there. That could warrant a phone call to the contract holder saying, hey, we're very interested. We do need some due diligence time on it. We would like to secure the deal. We'll send over the assignment agreement. Please assign it over to us, right? We could have done that, right? We went ahead. It's off market. He has it tied up. We put it out. We walked it with the investor on Friday, or James and Damon did. He's finishing running his numbers. He said he was going to get back to us early this week, which would be like today or tomorrow. It looks pretty good. Like he's gonna want to move forward on it. Here's my opinion. My opinion is, I think you can go ahead and call him up this evening. Let him know, hey, you know what? As you know, we walked it on Friday. We're very interested in moving forward. We're just finishing up some of our due diligence, and then I believe we'll be ready to put in a non-refundable deposit probably tomorrow, if not probably Wednesday. That being said, I'd like to go ahead and get the contract on this secured. If we can agree to have enough due diligence time until, let's say, just Friday, just to be safe. We'd like to have, an inspection period till Friday. We can close. I believe we can close on time, right? I believe our investors, he can close. Did he tell you, James, how quickly he could close?
No, he did not. But
7/4. I know this contract has got to close by 7/14/21. It's got to close by the 18th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be enough time. That's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Go ahead, Damon.
Ben, he was asking 400, but I told him 395 to 400.
Got it.
Right.
That's what he was asking, and I gave him those numbers to kind of give a little flexibility.
Sure. Well, here's the nice thing. It won't kill the deal to say, hey, you know what? We're just finishing up our due diligence at the city. And I don't know if you want to even say that. You don't want to give any clues. You know, this is like it's a poker game. You know what I mean? I would just let them know, hey, we're just firming up the rest of our numbers with our contractor. You know, obviously we gotta reconfigure the floor plan. That's safe. You could say that. We're firming up our numbers. We feel pretty certain that we're going to want to move forward. We just need a couple more days before we, put in our non-refundable deposit. But I'd like to go ahead and secure this. I'd like to go over and send over an agreement to secure this, let's call it, deposit to go in, by, what do you think, James, based off what our investor said, by Friday the latest?
I think Friday would give them enough time.
Friday the latest, close on the 18th.
Yeah. Or,
So
or if it needs to be
deposit in by this Friday. So deposit in by this Friday, close by next Friday, but we need to be at 385. And if you can agree upon that, Mr. Contract Holder, in this case, we'd like to go ahead and write that up and move forward. Would that work for you? And then he either tells you, yes, that will work for me, or no, that won't work for me.
Okay. You said 385?
Yeah.
385. Okay.
385.
385. Okay.
My guess is based upon the marketing history of it. He's going to say, yes, let's go ahead and just get it done. Right. If the answer, it's only going to be one of two answers. It's going to be yes or no. If it's yes, then say, great, we'll write it up. We'll send it over. We look forward to, getting this one wrapped up. If the answer is no, that won't work for me, then you just simply ask, well, what would work for you?
Okay.
And then that's when you're back in negotiations, and he's either going to say, well, I really need to keep it, because he's going to lose the deal is what's going to happen. So that's why I feel like I don't think he's going to give you any pushback. He may give you some, just because if he's a good negotiator, good negotiator just goes, okay, I'll take 385. You got me. If he's a good negotiator, he's gonna hum and haw. He's gonna say, that hurts, and no, I can't do that, and can you come up a little bit? And then that's when you can say, you know what, I really need to be at 385 to make this work. But here's what I can tell you: if we can agree upon 385, I feel very confident we're going to be able to have the margin we need to get it done. And I would be willing to write up the paperwork on that tonight, and we should have the deposit in there no later than Friday. I'm going to push to try to get all our numbers firmed up so we can get it in there, tomorrow, maybe Wednesday.
Got it.
And one thing you can do, if he says, no, I can't do 385, and you say, well, I really needed to be at 385 to make it work. If we can agree upon that, I can get the paperwork over to you this evening. If not, I'm not so sure. And then if he doesn't give, then you can say, you know what, let me give you a call back. Let me discuss it with my partners. You know what I mean? That way you can make them sweat a little bit.
Got it. I'm laughing because this part I'm learning. I'm learning all parts, but this part I'm learning, how to really deal with negotiating. The negotiating part is the part where you have to be strong, right? You have to be strong in the negotiating part. You can't let the person feel like, you're nervous, or want to give in.
Right. It truly is. It truly is. I mean, the best thing I could compare it to is poker. It truly is, because you can bluff, he can bluff. He can bluff and say, no, that won't. All right. So here's what we know, just to be, he sent us over the contract. He tried to redact it. He messed up. There's some of it that's not redacted. We can see what he has it at. He's got it at 375. All right, so we already know that. So that's number one. We know he's got it at 375. Number two, we know it's got market history. I know it's been shopped around town, and nobody has been able to figure out how to make it pencil, how to make the math work for them, or it just wasn't a deal for them, right? Because of what we know. So number three, that leads me to believe that one, he really wants to get it done, that he's kind of exhausted a lot of his buyers. It's been out on the marketplace. He wants to get it done, and he'd probably be willing to come down to a $10,000 margin to get it done.
So we're all the ones that send over the contract for him, or does he use his?
We'll send.
Come
so what we'll do, since he's the contract holder, he's going to assign it to us, and then we're just going to reassign it to our investor.
Okay.
So all he needs to do is agree to. If you want to write this down, we want to do 385. Due diligence and deposit by the 11th, right? We want to have enough due diligence to this Friday, the 11th, right? We're going to try to get it done and firmed up, before then. We're going to try to get it firmed up tomorrow or Wednesday, but we want until Friday, to get our deposit in, and then we'll close by the 18th. So he might give you some pushback on that too. He might give you some pushback on Friday. He might say, well, I really need you to, before I sign it, you need to be 100% certain. And then that's when you can ask him, well, okay, so if we agree to move forward at 385, do we have a deal? And then we can push our investor to, see if he's ready to go tomorrow.
Okay.
So in other words, your target is for Friday for deposit, and for us to your target is for us to have until Friday to put in our non-refundable deposit, right? The 11th, and then close by next Friday, the 18th at 385. And if we can agree upon that, we're going to write up paperwork this evening, Mr. Contract Holder, and send it over to you. If he pushes back on any of that, then you just need to know, well, what will work for you. And he may say, I'm you have until Wednesday to get it in. I'll do it at 385 or 390 and send over the paperwork. And you can say, you know what, I think I can get it done by Wednesday, but I really have to be at 385. Stick to that. And then at any point, if you can't come to an agreement, say, you know what, I'm gonna have to call you back because I need to discuss it a little further with my partners. But just let them know, if we can agree upon this at 385, we're pretty much ready to go. We're just buttoning up the numbers now on our construction. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, good. I think that's going to be a really good one. I'm excited. That's going to be a nice profit margin on that deal too. So, William, so I'm cutting back here real quick to Q&A, guys, and then we're going to wrap up our show here since we're at the hour mark. We go an hour or until all questions are exhausted. And William says, with the change in the market, what's another way to find deals? With the change in the market, another way to find deals is, my favorite ways are, number one, calling on FSBOs. Number two, calling on listed properties are great. Number three, driving for dollars. Or number four, you can send out mailers to a list, like an NOD list or a probate list. You can send out direct mail campaign. We've got one here that you can look at under direct mail resources. And then if you've got the book too, in the book I outlined a number of ways that you can market. But those are some of my favorites, is sending out letters, or networking with other investors, other investors that who are rehabbers that are rehabbing properties. They've got a tight buy box too. They can only buy so much, and they only buy certain types of deals. You could always call on them and say, hey, do you have any properties that you're not buying that I can get sold for you and pay you on it, and then try to limit that to like a 10 or 20% referral fee to them. Let's see. And then he also says, we can do deals from other investor. If so, I may have one in Highland Park. Well, there you go. That led right into your second question. Yes, of course. Damon's deal here that we've been going over, it's from another investor. So yes, you can do deals from other investors. And it kind of plays out two ways. Number one, if they have it under contract, you can come to an agreement on a price that you're willing to pay them for it. Like in Damon's case, the guy wanted, 400. We ran the numbers. We saw we could probably sell it at 423. So we asked him if he'd take 395 and then ultimately 385. So he'll make 10% on that. If percentage wise, looking at this deal, if we do 38,000, if we do sell it at 423, and we already know that 375 is what the guy has it at, it's a $48,000 margin. So he's basically going to make 10,000 divided by 48,000, like 20%. So again, you could always come to an agreement with some of your investors, because a lot of investors, they won't even sometimes have the deal under contract. They'll just have the lead, and then they just want to pass off the lead, and they know if they can give it to you and they can collect 20% on it, that's a good deal for them. So that's another thing you can do. All right, I hope that helps. Thanks everybody for joining me. Thanks, Damon, for being on this evening. And I won't say congratulations yet, but I like the way that the deal is teed up. So I'll let you go ahead and make the phone call to him, and then just update us with what the investor says. If he's ready for us to send over the agreement at 385, deposit in by Friday, close by next Friday, then we'll go ahead and write that up and get it over to you this evening so we can get that locked up.
Absolutely.
All right, excellent. Quick question: has he reached out to you at all since Friday?
He hasn't. I've been just texting him each day, letting him know we're still working on it, and I should have an answer for him shortly.
Okay.
Well, that's how I've been working it.
Okay, good. Well, I guess now would be a good time to reach out and see if we can go ahead and get this thing locked up so we can put in that deposit this week and close by next Friday.
Absolutely.
Okay, you got it. We'll wait for your update.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everybody.